Hello, Homestead. This is Greg Giglio, principal at Homestead High School, with my last community check-in for the school year because this is June 1st, and we are heading into our last week of school. So, again, some general announcements. Congratulations, class of 2020. This week, we finally get to do some celebrating of all your achievements. So, really looking forward to this week and getting to see a lot of you back on campus and having some of the fun opportunities and giving you a chance to celebrate with your families all the amazing work that you guys have done and deserve over this last 4 years. Just as a reminder, senior checkout is the entire week, the first, second, third, and fourth. We have assigned students to specific times and days, so please make sure you are following those. Please remember to bring your cap and gown along because there is that chance for a photo opportunity right at the very end. So we will be providing you a free copy of that photo. So please, get a chance to use those and show the grandparents and everybody how great you look in our green cap and gowns. Hopefully, you all did see the information about our car parade. It is on. It is for seniors. We really appreciate the cities of Cupertino and Sunnyvale and the work that they've been doing to help us get it going. We hope that everyone has a fun and safe car parade, and we look forward to seeing you come around for that. So please make sure you're signing up for your time slots, and you decorate your cars, and maybe you come out and be socially safe distance, cheer on our seniors. So all along the route, because it'd be great to have them here and see you all along the 2-mile route that we have. That is at 4 o'clock on the 4th. And then graduation is that evening. So do your loop and get home and get ready for our virtual graduation. So that premieres at 6 o'clock. For all you 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, you are still going to school this week. It is still the regular schedule. There's no finals schedule, so please maintain the same class times that you've been doing all along. Please make sure you're finishing strong. You're doing all your work. We want to make sure everyone gets and stays in credit status, so please make sure you're doing that. We also sent out an email to families about book materials return for all our 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. We were going to wait till next year to do that, but we realized that might be a little bit problematic in terms of trying to turn those around and get them back out to our kids that are going to be in school at that time. So we are going to be doing that very similar to the senior checkout the week after school, the 9th through the 12th. I know there's been some parents that have already emailed Mr. Dong about not being able to make that specific time. So please contact Mr. Dong if you have trouble with that particular week. But we do hope that as many of you can come through so we can figure out where all our books are, get them cleaned up and ready to go for the next year. On to our roses, a good bunch of roses here. I believe this is the second one for Mr. Byron Lee. We have a couple of Lees on campus, so I wanted to make sure you knew which one. And this one actually went on for several sentences about how fantastic Mr. Lee is in his classes and how engaging and what a great experience the student had in the law class. So again, thank you to Mr. Lee. There was also a thank you to all the participants in our senior awards video. That all the people who were speaking or read names or did any sort of the work on it. One of those people was Miss Trejo, who actually did the main organization and editing along with Miss Lloyd. I'm sorry, Miss Lund. And so they did a lot of the work on it. We all kind of pitched in at different times. That's also one of our Thorns later on, so I'll talk about that. But again, 2 roses here for Miss Trejo for her work on the senior awards and for the work with the 504 students. Again, this was Ms. Trejo's first year with us, and we really appreciated having her as part of the team. A rose as well for Mr. Prakash, one of our math teachers, for offering more practice materials, feedback, and review for his students. So thank you for doing that, Mr. Prakash. I think this is also a second one for Miss Eswin, another one of our math teachers, who showed a great deal of dedication and care, and this person also went on to talk about the amazing communication that came from Miss Eswin to keep her kids organized and moving forward. Another shout out as well for Mrs. Hurst Ruiz, who was one of our social studies teacher, for all her work and transparency during the shelter in place. So again, this is, I think, a second week in a row for Miss Hurst Ruiz. Also, Miss Ronsheimer, hopefully people were talking about how much they enjoyed her yoga videos. Families and students were doing them together. So again, maybe they're all on our YouTube channel. So if you want to go back and look at them, please do. And and, really appreciate her passion and her energy for the health and helping everybody stay safe and healthy. So thank you. There was also a shout out to Mr. Burrows and Mrs. Murray, math teachers, for their healthy math packet pickup. This was something they did for their AP calculus students. There was also a shout out to Mr. Burrows for the great work that he's been doing as well. And then final rose here for Mr. Nunez, one of our science teachers. And this teacher or parent was talking about sharing this new skills he had learned with students. And so, again, a lot of good roses this week. So thank you for sending the positives. It's always nice to hear those things. The buds, these are the things that are some ideas or things to work on or look at. And one of the thoughts or suggestions that came up from a parent was, can teachers please tell students how long to expect to be on for Zooms? Or other kind of like, are there going to be, is it part one and then part two later, or should they stay on the whole time? I guess because there was some confusion as to how long they had to be on there, and it made it hard to plan out their day. So when we are planning for next year, we'll make sure that parent or teachers do hear this. As a matter of fact, I do share this with the staff too, so they can hear what's coming through. And so again, I am sharing all this information with them, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Next year, it said for next school year, can you please allow several days before homework is due? There wasn't a whole lot of specifics with this, but if I'm reading between the lines, maybe there was some quick turnaround on some of the homework. I can tell you we are going to be looking at a different schedule. So, that may be possible in some cases. It may not be possible in others, but I think the overall plea is to, again, make sure that we have legitimate due dates and long enough time in between to do the good work that the students want to do. This one parent also suggested that, we should be talking to students because they can give really good advice and feedback on what worked this year to prepare for next year. Totally agree with you. And this is where I put in a reminder for you to do the district survey. It came out last week. It's a survey for students, staff, and parents. So we really are looking to get the results of that so we can turn it around and do the work on the planning that we need to do for next year. So we really do want to get all of your input. So please make sure you have done that. If you can't find the survey, email me and I will send you the link. And someone was actually wrote in here that they're very excited and say, hey, this is the first online graduation that Homestead has ever had. So kind of excited about the jump to technology here. I know that we all wish we could have done a real graduation, but this is one thing you can say, hey, we are the first ever online graduation. So thank you for putting that positive spin on it. On down to our Thorns. Again, these are some questions or concerns that are out there. This particular parent said that they were kind of confused and frustrated with all the forms of communication that are out there and saying, can we narrow that down? And again, I wasn't sure if they were speaking about maybe coming from the district and the school site and then the teachers, whether they were talking about classrooms individually. But when I try to send out information, and we're doing district level information, we do try to use multiple platforms to try and hit as many people as we possibly can. Because sometimes, we know that they might miss an email, or they may not see this bulletin, or they may not think to read this school loop thing. So we do try to repeat a lot of information. We do want to try and give people multiple places where they can find links or forms or that kind of thing. Again, I'd rather get, kind of get, my hand slapped for too many forms of communication than not enough. And so again, we probably won't cut them down, but I do know that one thing that may help some folks is that School Loop is going away next year. There were some competing platforms with teachers using School Loop or Schoology and Google Classroom and all that kind of thing. So that should get narrowed down a little bit as we're going along. Someone asked about, can we only do a 6-period schedule next year? I'm not sure why. They didn't give a reason as to why they wanted to only do 6 periods. But I can tell you right now that that's not going to happen. We are looking at maintaining 7 periods over the course of the entire year, whether we're in remote learning or not. One of the things, if we're in face-to-face learning, when we have 7 periods, it allows us to use the rooms and be able to offer more classes, so more sections of a class. And so if we don't, there's my dog barking, but if we don't have an extra period in there, we can't fit all the classes into the number of classrooms that we have. So I know that may not make sense when we're on remote learning, but for when we're doing face-to-face, that's why one of the reasons we've gone there. Also, 7 periods allow, well, I already read that one, but if we remove a period, classes do get bigger, right? So there's less sections for people to be in. You have to put more kids into classes, and that's, while maybe on remote learning, that's not a bad thing, but if we're doing a shared face-to-face and remote learning, or face-to-face learning only, we don't want bigger classes. We want to maintain those class sizes because we know the smaller the classes, the better. Also, quite frankly, we would have to get rid of staff and certain programs if we didn't have those classes, because a lot of times those seventh periods are used to get some of those elective classes in. And so not very many students, though, really actually need to use a seventh period. So when you're signing up for classes, you really only need to sign up for 6. And as you get to your senior year, you may not even need to use the full 6, depending on how you've allocated your classes earlier. But when kids who do use 7th period, it's usually because they have an intervention class like an AVID or an academic foundations, and that intervention class allows them to take their full other courses, but also get support in those classes. And also it allows students to get some more electives in, because quite frankly, in your freshman and sophomore years, you have more required classes, and it would be all required and no electives. And so that would make it a little bit more difficult to get some of those great electives that we have. So that's the reason why we do 7 periods, and we're going to stick with that one. There was a plea saying, can teachers please go easy on grading? Students are struggling at this point, and we totally understand that. Everybody's tired. This has been the craziest year that any of us can remember. I think everyone's nerves are a little bit frayed. Everybody would like to see this year end, and we've only got a couple more days. And we are definitely trying to be compassionate in our grading. One of the things I can say we've done greater than we've ever done before has been the teachers communicating home with students and families about what the kids still need to do to earn credit. I mean, I've seen multiple emails from teachers going to like students, hey, you haven't done this, can you turn this in? Hey, you get one more shot. Emails going home to parents saying your kid is about to fall out of credit status. Here's what they need to do. Those emails are even going out right now so that people can try and use this last week to get to where they need to be. We've also had other staff members, whether it's counselors or our instructional aides, our mental health teams, checking in with students to see how they're doing. And again, if you are struggling, or if you think your student is struggling, or a friend is struggling, go to the resources page and click on the mental health support and send in a request, and we will definitely get someone out to talk to, maybe not out in person, but out electronically, to talk things over with your student. The idea behind credit, no credit, and again, I know it's controversial and some people don't like it, but it is to take a more holistic approach to the grading, knowing that there are some difficult circumstances going on out there, that maybe kids aren't learning in the way we want them to learn, and we haven't been able to teach in the way we want to teach. So it is trying to take a look, a different way of assessing their needs. But in the end, these 3 things have to happen. We can't, it's not a true grade if kids aren't attending, if they're not submitting work, and that we don't have them ready for the next level. So those are really the things we're looking at when we're trying to give you credit for the class, and hope that you earn that. So again, I hope you understand that we are trying, everything that we've been doing is to attempt to try and reduce some of the stress here, and to open up the learning and not focus so much on the grade, or whether it's plus or a minus or that kind of thing. So we're definitely part of our strategy here. Finally, there was a couple of frustrations over a couple of thorns over the senior awards. I just can't apologize enough that we definitely had a couple of issues that came out. Just so you're aware what those issues were, we had a technical glitch that delayed the premiere of the video. So I know that got people frustrated because they couldn't access it. Maybe they had some events and parties that they were trying to do. So again, that was completely out of our hands, and thank you for the folks on our side who ended up working to try and get that solved and get it uploaded. But yeah, that was just one of those things with, when you're dealing with technology, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So apologize for that. When we were editing this, before we ever uploaded it or any of that kind of stuff, the video was running very, very long. We weren't sure that it was, people were going to stick through a whole 2.5 hours of a video, even though there were a bunch of amazing seniors to give credit to. We chose to edit it down to try and get to the heart of it, get through it more quickly. So we did take out some of the speakers. We did take out some of the name reading. When we did the re-edit and we used some title cards, we definitely grabbed the wrong list when putting together the FBLA slide. So again, we apologize to those folks. Apologize to teachers. It wasn't the teacher's fault. It was our fault. So sorry about that. There were a couple other things that we found out as we were going through. We had a wrong picture under somebody and a wrong name. And so we decided to relaunch the corrected video. And at the end of it, we put all the videos uncut, unedited at the end of it, so people could go through at their leisure and check out all the things that were said about them or their students or their friends. So again, you know, we were not used to doing it in this way, and we learned a lot of things, and we definitely apologize for any inconvenience that it may have had. But I definitely thought the video looked really nice. I'm really happy with the work that was put into it. We did learn a few things if we ever have to do this again, and I hope we don't. But again, thank you for your patience on that. And finally, I would just like to say I really appreciate all the supports and feedback that you guys have been providing to me and to the staff throughout this shelter-in-place time. It has been really helpful, um, and you know, it's been invaluable for us to kind of tweak things and correct things as we go along. If we are in some remote learning, I definitely will be using this technique again, and you know, maybe try to figure out a way we can do more videos. Although people might get tired of my face here when we're outside shelter-in-place. So thanks for sticking with me these times. I just want to say how proud I am of all the students, of all the staff, of all the families. You know, this has not been easy, but you guys have really made this worthwhile. You guys have cheered each other on. You've been supportive of each other. Even when things got frustrating or things weren't working, you guys were trying to work with us and together to be collaborative and make things better. So I really do appreciate that. And it just makes me proud to be part of Homestead, just to know how we got through all this crazy mess. Um, and just to let you know, we are in the process of planning right now for next year. We're looking at schedules. We're looking at what are the resources that worked, what are some technologies that we can use, what are some trainings that we can get. So we really are looking to not be in an emergency situation. We're looking to get the years planned out and be able to switch between platforms. If we need to go to remote learning, we'll be able to switch over on a dime. If we're going to go to face-to-face learning, we're able to do that. So we're definitely putting in a lot of thought and time to all the different problems and questions and concerns that come up over the schedule. But so I just want you to know that, you know, while this year is winding down, our job and our eyes are on next year, and we're already starting to do a lot of that. For the rest of it, I just want to say thank you again this summer. Please stay safe. Please stay well. You know, I know that people are feeling antsy and they want to get out there and they want to do things that they haven't been able to do, but we are concerned about a second wave that might be coming out there. And so we want to keep everybody healthy. We want to keep everybody with us. We want to make sure that we all get through this together. So again, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate everyone. And I want you to have a great end of year. Take care.